I've come to the point in my life where I realize nothing else matters in this life except love. And I can't help myself but to talk about it because when you're on your deathbed, what do you think is the leaving thing that just fills your soul to the bone? It's not your material possessions. It's not what you achieved. It's the people you moved. It's the people who surround you on your deathbed, around your deathbed, as you're about to leave this world. And to the degree that we can cultivate that, I believe is the degree that we will achieve and have blessings in our life. Because even with all the power in the world, all the money in the world, if on your deathbed nobody is there because you didn't care enough about other people don't care enough about you to show up because you were so selfish. At the end of life, life reflects one final message to you. And it's that this is how you treated me, so this is how I'll treat you. This is how you'll be treated. I'm just a mirror. I am just a mirror of you, life says. So the degree that you choose to love life is the degree that life loves you back. Life is a mirror. Life doesn't care. Life is lovingly indifferent. It just reflects your projections onto it. The reality you want to create is energetic. It's a state of being. It's how you want to show up in your energy, in your vibe, in the person that you want to be, the person that you want to show up as. And depending on the kind of person you show up as, you attract the kind of people in your life that either resonate with that and feel drawn and magnetized to it, or they feel repelled by it. But at the end of the day, what is it? All of it. It's a mirror. It's a reflection of what you are projecting. Choose to love as much as you can. Don't hold nothing back. And when you do hold back, catch yourself. Catch yourself. Because love expands your fullest potential. Love expands who you're capable of being. Who are you before the world told you who you are? Who are you before the world told you what to fear? Who are you before the world told you what to believe and what not to believe? I'll spoil it for you. You are the authority you have externalized and given away to outer circumstances, outer institutions, outer entities. The more you recognize that you give that power away, the more powerless you feel inside of your own life. And that's when you'll start protesting everything. That's when you'll get really angry and try to make the world change because you've forgotten one fundamental truth. Everything, the power, all the power inside of the world is inside of you. To the degree you take that power back in your body, in your mind, in your soul, in the way you show up for the people around you, in relationships, in friendships, in business, is the degree life starts reflecting back to you what you are putting out. We are all energy fields. Why is it that when one bad thing happens, it can spiral into 5 other bad things in the same day? It's because that one bad thing hijacked your attention to focus on negativity. And the more you're stuck in negativity, the more of negativity it creates. It creates a loop. And you can be in that loop for a day. You could be in that loop for 3 weeks, 7 months, 15 years. It's not uncommon. The hamster wheel is not in time. The hamster wheel is timeless. The hamster wheel is eternal. And it will continue for as long as you don't recognize the truth that you can step off the hamster wheel and observe it for what it is. You can stop repeating the same loops and patterns, and you can decide you want something different. But to want something different, you'd have to change who you're currently being. What you're currently projecting is a byproduct of who you're currently being. I'll give you a personal example. My projection for the better part of 5 years, ever since I started a YouTube channel, my projection for the better part of these 5 years was that I don't deserve to be seen. I don't deserve to get views. I don't deserve for people to understand what I'm saying. If you look back on all of my content, you'll see that 4 years ago, I was already pretty much saying the same thing I am today. Do you know the one difference that changed? It's me actually knowing my worth. It's actually me knowing that this message that I'm speaking deserves to be seen. That is pretty much the only major belief difference. And because this belief shifted, it actually shifted the amount of attention and the views and the way that people are resonating with what I'm putting out. I was already saying this shit 4 years ago, man. But it's like, why weren't people watching? Why weren't people resonating? Because I was projecting an energy of, I don't deserve for this to be seen. This doesn't deserve for other people to understand. I held the energy of, I'm saying all of this, but nobody understands. You know, I'm alone, and it's like, the world doesn't understand, you know. The message never changed. Like, seriously, if you look back 3-4 years ago, I was already saying the same things practically. The blocks we have are identity, are energetic. They create this invisible vortex. And the breakthrough is when we break through the mental prisons that we've created for ourselves. And once we break through all of it, all the things in the outer world just start coming. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But maybe you don't need it to make sense. All that you need to know is that it works, and that it is law, and that life is a mirror, and that you get exactly what you believe yourself to be worthy of. It gets really deep because you can spend a lot of energy and time trying to figure out, what is my block? What is my block? What is my block? Well, a lot of times you won't even be able to pull it up because you want to deny it. You don't want to know it, because to know it would be to expose yourself to your deepest insecurities, to your deepest fears. To know your deepest fears, You have to ask yourself, what are what is the future reality I say I want? And then what are the behaviors that I am just afraid to do, even though I know those are the behaviors that will get me to the future reality I want? Or maybe I'm not even sure that these behaviors will get me to that future that I want. Or I'm not even sure if that is the actual future that I want. You see? All of these layers and layers and layers of unclarity creates more mud in the noise, creates more confusion. How do you clear up that confusion? You clear it up not by trying, but by allowing. Allowing everything that you have pushed down up until this point in your life to start coming up to the surface. This is fundamentally what psychedelics like psilocybin do. They force your ego, they dissolve your ego so that it's completely out of the way, and that everything that you have repressed deep down into your psyche just bubbles up and it's out of your control. You have no choice but to face it. And that's why you come out of the other side of it a completely transformed person. That's why psychedelics, psilocybin, is so effective for curing addictions, for curing depressions, PTSD, psychological disorders, as defined by the medical system, the DSM. The breakthroughs you're looking for are on the other side of allowing. They're on the other side of sitting with yourself and maybe sitting with the discomfort to the point where you start to cry. That is a good sign. That is a good sign because it's starting to come out. You're starting to release it all. My philosophy for life is very simple, and I wrote this down. Some people attain a lot on paper, but they are neither happy nor fulfilled inside of their heart. Others do very little with their lives and yet are able to be completely content. My belief is that a worthy life is one where one achieves a lot without ever waiting for his achievements to bring him happiness. He goes through life always in harmony with what is unraveling before him in the present moment. And in doing so, in meeting the present moment where it is, this creates opportunity out of problem and perfection out of imperfection. The beautiful thing about life is that the dynamic is always changing. You're in a free fall. Ever since you were born, the moment you were born, you jumped off of an airplane. And your entire life is the free fall through the sky. And the moment you hit the ground, your consciousness vanishes. At least from this being that you are in your present life. The question becomes, how do we make the most of our free fall, of our skydive? We can try holding on, we can try grasping onto the air, trying to cling on for dear life. But what would be the point of that? The point of that is to just dance in the sky. To be one with the free fall. To be so absorbed inside of the moment, the flowing fluidity of the moment, that when everything ends, it feels like everything was just one big dream. Meet God halfway. Put in the work and release the outcome. If you simply put in the work that you're afraid to do, God will meet you halfway. Keep an open mind, keep an open heart in order to help unforeseen opportunities find you. In this way, you're operating at the frequency that you want to attract. To do this requires you to unlearn everything. This moment is just naked. There's no labels you put on it. There's no categories you put on it. There's no belief system you put on it. This moment is just naked, just you and the moment. Like you and a lover making love, because that's what it is. You realize to go through life in love with it is the same way you would go through a relationship. To make love with the moment. To be present and see the moment for what it is. You do the same thing with a woman. It's not different. There are going to be harsh moments. There are going to be uncomfortable moments. And there are going to be absolutely beautiful, breathtaking moments. But you respond to every moment from a place of emptiness, from a place of stillness, from a place of not knowing, where your mind is empty and you're just meeting the moment, how it wants to show up. And from doing that, from being that, that's how the fullness of life shows up. That's how the fullness of a woman shows up. Women are only a microcosm of the greater life force of life itself. Your capacity to meet the moment, your capacity to meet a woman at the deepest level. That is love. That is love. There's no searching. There's no trying. There's no trying to change anything. There's no trying to do anything. There's just being. Being so present, so full, so alive, so in tune, that the only thing that remains is love. Everything just makes sense in a way that doesn't require your conscious analytical mind to try to comprehend. Because as soon as your conscious analytical mind tries to step in and to understand it, you break that connection. Because now you're one layer away from experiencing reality at its fullest bliss. Because the mind steps in to block it. The mind steps in to jam the signal and turn it into noise. The mind steps in to turn the awe of the ineffable nature of life into some problem that it needs to solve because it feels anxious, because it feels afraid. The art of letting go into love. It happens more and more naturally. The more you realize that nothing else really matters except love. It depends where you're currently at, but to some people, what I just said makes absolutely zero sense. To other people, they can feel it. They know it. It's something that's so deep within us. It's beyond rationality. It's beyond the egoic control. Inside of the mystery of life is the relaxation into the unknowing, into the relaxation of spontaneity. Because something wants to arise out of you. And when you allow it to, without judging it, without trying to change it. And notice that I'm saying the exact same thing in relationship to a woman. It's the same thing. And you can say a relationship with a woman is one of the deepest forms of spiritual practice because it shows you where you're still attached, where you're still stuck and blocked mentally, where you feel insecure, where you need something to be different than how it is. And due to that insecurity, you will try to change the moment. But trying to change the moment creates resistance. For every force, there's an equal reaction. That is what is happening. But when there is no push, there is no ego to resist anything, when it's just empty, when you're just still, when you don't exist, then the moment can unfold how it needs to unfold. And you're just meeting it again and again and again. And from that place, there's a deep spiritual power. It relaxes all the tension. It quells the anxiety, the worry, the fear, the overthinking. And in that, you become connected. You become connected to life. You become connected to yourself. You become connected to your heart. You become connected to your woman. Because you are connected to love itself. You are connected to the very force that creates life. Think about it. The act of conceiving a child through intercourse. Why do we call it love making? Love gives rise to life. Love gives rise to creation. When you love, you give rise to the creation of the reality and the life you're looking for. Love has no justifications. Love has no need to prove anything. Love just is. In the depth of that connection, reality just becomes clear. Reality just becomes perfect, even amidst its imperfection. Because what is love? Love is the loving of something or of someone, not despite their flaws, but because of them. Very esoteric talk today. I'm going to end it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.